morning, everyone. My name is Tiffany Schreiber. I am actually from Cleveland, Ohio. I flew in earlier this week for your Faculty Technology Day. I am an applications consulting engineer for CISCO, which kind of makes me a glorified trainer, kind of makes me a student, kind of makes me a teacher, a little bit of everything at once. What I do is I work with different CISCO customers or different organizations and help them incorporate our technologies into their day-to-day practices. So I've worked at the White House, I've worked with the Department of Defense, I've worked with the University of Minnesota, I worked with the City of Columbus. I cover everything state, local, but my specialty is higher education. So for our session today, we're going to talk a little bit about WebEx. I found that when I was fresh out of college, I wanted to help teach, but I didn't want to be directly the teacher. I found that I wasn't exactly meant for teaching other people, but maybe helping them develop the skills and resources that they have to be better teachers. And I was really passionate about technology. I'm turning 30 this year, and I guess technically I am a millennial. Alright, so I'm always attached to my little pink iPhone. I am always on Facebook, I'm always on Instagram, I'm always hashtagging everything that I can possibly think of. Like I went to Magnolia Bakery last night, it's like hashtag banana pudding, hashtag bananas, hashtag New York City, over and over again. But I found that those skills that I have with being a millennial and all of these different applications, and I like helping instructors apply this to their classroom on teaching difficult people like me. So today we're going to concentrate mostly on WebEx, or concentrate on WebEx. I want to share with you what is coming this fall. Fordham University will be turning up WebEx for every staff, faculty, and student. Everyone will have a WebEx account and be able to host their meetings. Right now, we're currently doing a pilot program and building out collateral and workshops for all of you to participate once the fall starts. But we wanted to join Faculty Technology Day today to help introduce you guys to the technology. What exactly can you do? What are other universities? What are other students? What are just some of my other customers, maybe in general, that I've worked with? What are they doing with WebEx? I want to talk with you a little bit about and give you a demonstration of what all of this looks like. Yeah.
Is there something, you have a mock we can look into?
Yeah, we'll do that in a little bit.
Is there any way we can lower the lights in the front so that we see the screen a little bit better? Does anybody know the room?
The ones on the front?
Yeah, just the, usually
Yeah,
you
just
can
the
do
front
the
lights?
front panel and leave the back open. Oh, you got it. Beautiful.
Does that work? Yeah.
That's helping you.
So, first, what exactly is WebEx? WebEx is, a lot of people like to think of it as just video conferencing, but I like to think of it more than that. Yes, I do have the capabilities for video, for audio, but then at the same time, I can share content no matter what device that I'm on. I have a stack of devices over here that I was using for my demo, where I can join from any device, whether it's an iPhone, whether it's a tablet, whether it's Android, whether it's BlackBerry, my desktop PC, my laptop at home. I can join from anywhere and with anyone. My mother actually is a perfect example of this. I'm always using this as an example because she can join a WebEx with me every April as we review her taxes. I live in Cleveland, Ohio. She lives down in Florida. A lot of the times we find it very difficult to talk about something when you want it right in front of you. You don't want to lose the value of meeting someone face to face and seeing them when you can share the content at the same time online. So what exactly can I do with WebEx? Nice long list of use cases. My favorite thing about WebEx is that I can share my desktop and specific applications. Part of what my job is to teach other people how to use WebEx. Well, I can do that real time by starting up a session. At any moment, I can jump back and forth between the PowerPoint presentation that I'm using, the PDF document with a browser window so I can show them where you guys can look up more resources on what's coming in the fall. I can also conduct a video interview. So when I joined CISCO, I was actually interviewed over WebEx. I did not meet my manager in person until my first day of work, and he was actually located in California, and I live in Ohio. So it was a wonderful trip. But at the same time, I was able to create personal relationships with my colleagues, even though they weren't regional to Ohio. Also, can you guys remember the last time you had an IT difficulty? You were probably take a screenshot, send it off to IT, and then IT says, well, can you restart your computer? And then you restart your computer, take another screenshot, and you send it back over. And it's kind of like this vicious cycle. Well, imagine if you guys could just hop into the meeting together for that 10 minutes so you can restart your computer and they can walk you step by step through all of these. Or restart the application or through what you're having difficulty with. So it is coming this fall semester. As I mentioned, faculty, staff, faculty, adjunct professors, you all will be able to host your own WebEx meetings, whether it is meeting center meetings. What are meeting center meetings? Meeting center meetings are your typical everyday meetings. Let's say you want to host those virtual office hours. Your students can have a URL where all they do is click it, whether they're joining from their mobile device, whether they're joining from their laptop. They click this link and they're suddenly face-to-face in a conversation with you on how, on walking them through L'Hopital's rule. That's the first thing that popped into my head because I actually like differential calculus. But next, you can also have Training Center, all right? Training Center. Training Center is a service that gives you guys the capabilities to host online distance education courses or professional development workshops. Now, a lot of people worry about how do I know my students are paying attention? You could be on Facebook. Yes, I can see you, but what are you doing? Are you actually participating, absorbing the material, understanding it, and participating in class? Well, there's something called the attention indicators. And what it is if WebEx isn't your active application on your computer, on the instructor's view, it puts a big red exclamation point next to their name. But what if they're taking notes in another application? What if they're Googling that concept or finding that video on something that they may have not read over as well as they should? But you could choose to give them polling instead. You can deliver quizzes via WebEx. You can ask them to enter essay questions and have them talk about it. You can have them break out into smaller groups and then come back to the main online session and talk through exactly what the problem is, or the essay question, or talking about how they can incorporate technology into their day-to-day lives. Whatever it is, you have the flexibility to deliver this online just from the comfort of your computer. And then Event Center. What about Event Center? Event Center, online, how can I say this? Long story short, webinars, large-scale events, managing that large group of people. One of the universities that I work with, they use Event Center to provide prospective students resources to learn more about undergraduate programs at their university. And then when the session's over and everyone closes out of it, it takes them directly to their admissions page. You can also manage the audio for those. Has anyone in this room seen that virtual conference call on real life YouTube video? Yeah. So the premise of this video is Tiffany has entered the room, and then she starts talking, and then I'm here. And then it's Diego has entered the room, and then suddenly he mutes himself, and then he disappears from the room. Those difficulties that you actually have with having a conference call or multiple calls or multiple people in the same room talking over each other. Well, it's demonstrating what it is in a conference. Well, Event Center gives you some of the resources like registration, learning more about the demographics, about the people that are joining your group. Training Center gives you testing. You have a lot of different resources that will be available to you on how you can deliver this content to your students. But Meeting Center, if you just want to get your toes wet, learn more about Meeting Center. We're going to talk a little bit about user groups. I always mention how most people, I can sit here and talk to you all day about how I use WebEx and how I can connect with my colleagues from all over the world, and I can talk to Anne from Ireland on a regular basis, and I love it. But really remember what your guys' user groups are. There's staff, there's faculty, there's students, and there's overlaps on them all the time. How can each of these different groups leverage WebEx? You may see that maybe one day academic advising decides to adopt WebEx so they can deliver or review sessions specifically with individual students on their grades, GEC requirements for each of their programs. Faculty members, yeah, you can use it for teaching, and I encourage you to at least get your toes wet and maybe use it for teaching. But if you don't want to dive right into hosting a completely online course starting this fall and redoing your entire course design, start little. Start with something like using something called personal meeting rooms, which will be part of our demonstration, where you can just host little office hour sessions, meet with your students one-on-one. They don't have to go through your guys' traffic. I've already gotten lost several times in the city. It's slightly terrifying because I am directionally challenged. But if that was necessary, I could have started this meeting from my cell phone and given you guys this presentation from the subway. Your students. A lot of people's like, well, what about my students? Are my students really going to use WebEx? Well, think about your different groups of students. Maybe you have international students. They want to reach back home with their family even though they don't have the resources to travel all the way home. They connect over video, talk to their family members over voice over IP. I do it all the time. My mother's side of the family is actually from the Philippines, and I can meet with multiple members of our family at the same time. They all can join a WebEx meeting. So always keep in mind your user groups. I always like this example, and actually if I go back, you can see the picture up here. I use it in every single one of my presentations because I love this picture. And it's because who is that guy? Is he a student? Is he a staff member? Is he a faculty member? Is he an adjunct professor? Who exactly is he? He's just sitting there in a lobby on his computer. He could be any number of things. He could be an academic advisor who's working on his PhD. He could be a graduate student. Students are going to use all of these different technologies, possibly different from you guys. And maybe they'll come up with some new ideas on how you guys can leverage it in your classroom. Maybe as a staff member, you decide that you're spending a lot of time at the beginning of each of your classes to go through a lab exercise and make sure they're doing that review. I remember when I was taking chemistry 121, it was like my enemy. But at the very beginning of class, we always had to sit there and watch these lab videos. And it took about the first 10 or 15 minutes of class. And then I am sitting there after class for another 10 or 15 minutes trying to get the last little bit of my lab done, and it's rolling into the next class. Well, one of the instructors I work with, they actually recorded all of these lab videos, or provided a YouTube video. And then you can do the recording over WebEx, and then you can have students watch it in their own time. All right, and then they have more valuable time and monitor on whether they actually watched the video or not. So now I want to move into some more specific examples, all right? First is James Madison University. They are located in Harrisonburg, Virginia. They are part of a consortium called 4VA, which is Old Dominion University, George Mason University, James Madison University, and VCU. They kind of have several different programs where they share instructors. But one of their interesting examples are the professional interviews. They don't really exactly have the resources, the 4VA program, to fly out to every new prospective employee. They can start up a WebEx meeting, and then you don't have to host the employee for these job candidates. So they recently actually hired someone to help manage some of their instructional design. And what this person is responsible doing is working with one of the 4VA classes. It's a robotics class where they connect with people from NASA, from Lockheed Martin, and bring them in. And there's like actually this little telepresence device or video device. It's a little robot. It kind of like drives around the room. And then it has like a little bumper if it hits something, and then they can talk directly to the students, and then they can move over to the other table. It gives them a lot of flexibility on how they can deliver their classes. But you can use WebEx for professional interviews. Georgia College, they are in, they're south east of Atlanta. Milledgeville, Georgia. All right. Their entire Master's of Nursing program leverages Training Center. That Training Center resource where I can have breakout sessions, where I can have those attention indicators, where I can record my lectures in a blended asynchronous or synchronous, dependent on what is the objective, whether it's watching lectures or recordings from previous lectures that they have, or just having the synchronous communication back and forth with their students. Now, their program is for the Masters of Nursing for the Family Nurse Practitioner and Nurse Educator programs. Now, you can't just talk to video, share content, and do all of these breakout sessions and these attention indicators, but the instructor for the nursing program found that she really wanted to make sure that the students weren't just absorbing the content, but they understood the content. So she would offer pre and post-session quizzes. So every time I say test, she always yelled at me, but she'd offer quizzes. And the reasoning behind it is that the students she was able to evaluate with these open-ended questions and sometimes multiple choice questions on whether the students did their reading the night before, whether they were actually paying attention in class, making sure she was asking questions that really exercises their understanding of the material. She would then do recordings, allow the students to participate in different kinds of recordings, and then she can send them streaming or download links to these resources at her leisure. Another example is Marymount University. And I love Marymount University because they are, well, their traffic isn't as bad as yours, but they're right outside of the DC area. They have a campus in Arlington, Virginia. They have a campus in Boston, I always say Boston, but it's Boston, and Reston, Virginia. And there is an instructional design course where there's only one instructor that teaches it, and there are not instructional design, industrial design course. There are a lot of students that need to take this course, and they do not have a classroom facility to host all of these students on a regular basis because it conflicts with some of the other GUC programs. So what they were able to do was schedule 2 regional site courses where she would be at Site 1 in Reston, Virginia, and she would participate in lectures and deliver content there and bring in the other regional site into her main session. And then she'd spend another part of her time over here at the, Boston campus. And then she'd bring that regional site 1 into her lecture. But then she also had to worry about accreditation because for their system, for their university system, you have to be with your students at least 51% of the time to be accredited. Well, that's 2 regional courses. So on the first day and the last day of classes, they would meet at one centralized location, and she was able to talk to all of her students, meet them, develop personal relationships with them, spend time at one site, go visit another site. Students are able to choose where they can commute to. They could choose how they can participate in class for some of her courses, because she didn't make all of her students didn't always need to come and be in a brick and mortar classroom. They had the flexibility to choose how they wanted to attend as well, whether it was using a mobile device or a tablet, or sitting over in the library, or working from Starbucks. As long as they were participants in the class and participating in active discussion, it worked for her. And now they're actually expanding her course to several sections, where they're going to be doing several sections of this course over several of the campuses. Now more students can get through this class and have these different experiences. So I wanted to do a demonstration of hosting an office hour session. A lot of people use this feature of WebEx. It's called personal meeting rooms. And when you guys get your WebEx accounts in the fall, every single one of you will have a personal meeting room, or PMR. And what this is a persistent space that is always available for you at the same URL. And if you're not there, you don't have to worry about people using your resources because the meeting won't start unless Steve is there, because it's Steve's personal meeting room. So I'm going to step away from this presentation. And if you guys want to join me, I'm actually going to go ahead and open the Word document. Now, if you are joining from a mobile device, it's going to direct you to the Google Play Store or your App Store to download an application called CISCO WebEx Meetings. All right?
Are you saying we should do that now or no?
If you want to,
Yeah.
but you don't have to.
Could you repeat that?
Let me type out this URL for you. It is not case sensitive. Sorry, I should have prepared a slide that has the link on there for you. Alright, so fordham.webex.com/meet/tschreiber. Alright, so this is essentially my Fordham IT username, that little, the beginning part of my email address. And then there's the persistent part of the URL. So this room is always available to me at any time I want someone to join my WebEx meeting, or my personal meeting room, or my office hours, or my advising session.
So for the students who are not Fordham students yet, how do they need to have an account with download the application or what?
So they will need to have the application installed on their mobile devices, but they don't need to have an account. So you guys, for those that are participating, can actually join my personal meeting room even though I'm not there. Anyone can join whether they have an account or not. Because I help my mom on her taxes, for example. She definitely does not have an account. Alright? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this URL. Oops, that's not good for demo. Murphy's Law. Alright. So here's my URL. I can copy and paste this into a browser window, and whoever I send this URL to is going to land on this page. Now, since this is my view, you're seeing it as me being the host of the meeting. It says start meeting. For everyone else, it'll say join meeting. But once you click start meeting, it's going to start up the WebEx application. And what it allows me to do is to bring other people into this meeting, where I can start my video. They can participate in this lecture with me or reviewing this content. I actually had Teddy go out into the hallway so he could be available for the demonstration if no one wanted to join. But I can connect to audio, talk to him back and forth once he connects to audio. He can see my video. He associates me with as a person and as an actual person who's helping him in creating that personal relationship. So one of the things I remember most about college was that I went to a very large university, like huge university. And as a student, I was always worried that I was a number. So my email was Schreiber.76. My fiance, who I met in college, he is Conley.241. His little brother is Conley.242. All right, we were worried that we were a number. We weren't actually people. We weren't students that were participating in the class. But here I can associate a person that I can see. I may not be able to touch them, but it is a real person that I'm talking to. Like, okay, how many people in this room have a smartphone? Okay, I always like using Apple. How many of you are Apple iPhones? Yeah, okay. When you guys have a problem with your iPhone, do you prefer calling in to some random support number, or do you go into the Apple Store? Apple Store?
Yeah.
Why?
Because we like to wait online for hours.
make a reservation. I actually have a reservation later today that I have to go to. But,
I'll make you believe.
yeah, but is part of it possibly because you can talk to an actual person about your problem, opposed to that person that just says, I'm really bad at this, so I am terrible. I'm an engineer. I'm technically savvy, and I get frustrated when I have to go call a support desk and say, oh, hi, did you restart your computer? Yes, I restarted my computer. But they just want to create a baseline for you, so they know where you're starting from, and you guys are both on the same page. But being able to share content and talk to people, you're also able to do that too. So Teddy, I don't know what device you're joined. Oh wait, can you hear me? Yes, Teddy, I don't know what device you're joined from, but can you join your video? Turn on your video. So he's chilling over there in the hallway. You want to wave at everyone, Teddy? They can see you.
Hi, everybody.
And then I can talk back and forth to him. Who is this her? Do you see him on your mobile device?
I'm just starting my own video. I don't.
Oh, do you see me? Oh, it's because I'm the active speaker and I'm the one talking.
Oh, there
And
we
now
go.
you're on the
Look at that.
screen. And then I can join as well. Oops. Once again, take your time when typing the URL. I'm always fat fingering everything. And then I can join from my phone. I have a lot of flexibility on how I can meet and interact with people. So this week was actually my first time meeting Teddy in person. All right. Teddy, how long have we been working together on WebEx?
Probably about 2 months.
2 months. And then I've been engaged with Diego for about like 3 or 4, I think. Yeah.
Right.
Met them in person for the first time. We all using a WebEx meeting. So Diego, can you go to help.webex.com? Oh, Diego's
This is me?
yeah, Teddy, can
Sure.
you go to help.webex.com?
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and pass you this ball.
Okay.
And make you the presenter. Can you, when you get there, can you share your screen?
I'll do that.
Awesome. So I don't typically do this, all right? But you guys can go to help.webex.com and you guys can look for resources to help get you started on learning about what's coming. Now with that said, I'm being recorded and I know I'm being recorded up there because he has a camera and it's pointed at me. But Help Central is going to teach you everything you need to know about WebEx, all right? Everything that WebEx offers, all right? That does not necessarily mean that's what they're deploying in the fall. You will be able to go to these WebEx, WebEx Help Central and look up videos. How do I start my video? That way you guys can learn more about the different resources that are offered. Diego, can you go to the main page on Help Central, help.webex.com?
Teddy.
Oh my God, he's gonna kill me.
No worries. No worries.
Teddy.
No worries.
Let me make that video look a little bigger of Teddy. All right, can you scroll down a little bit for me?
Sure.
All right, and click on CISCO WebEx. So here I can watch more videos by clicking on any of these resources. If I want to learn about Meeting Center, if I want to know about hosting my typical everyday meetings and hosting my office hours, I can click on Training Center to learn more about Training Center. There's these little intro videos that tells you welcome to Meeting Center. And Teddy, I'm actually gonna ask to control your machine for me.
Okay. I'm going to approve.
So now I'm
Okay.
gonna take control of your computer. Works. Sure. So I can take over his machine, and he can take control back at any time, and start sharing content with you guys, and taking you directly to those resources, helping your students troubleshoot those problems and those customized applications that they use on their computer. So Teddy, that's great. I like WebEx Help Central and everything. Can you just Google WebEx for me?
Sure. Okay, try and grab control of the mouse.
Oh, I'm not touching it. But the point is that I can share a lot of content with my student and switch back and forth between applications. And Teddy, you remember what I said I was going to do?
Yes, I
Alright,
do.
let's say Teddy is sharing something inappropriate when he's supposed to be presenting on his classwork. Well, I can take this WebEx ball away from him at any time, but my favorite thing to do is I like to go here to the participant list and right click and kick him out. Bye, Teddy. Everyone say bye to Teddy.
Everybody, I'll be in there shortly.
And I can kick him directly out of our meeting for sharing his inappropriate content. I've never actually purposely done it for that reason. I mostly use it as an example. But you guys do have that level of control, even just from sitting here at the tip of your finger.
I just joined you. Can I just ask a question going back? So you had said for us to just type in fordham.webex.com/me/tshribe. My iPhone didn't want to do that. Was I supposed to download the app first?
Yes, so what's nice about the WebEx application is a lot of people, it takes you direct. Okay, so when I get excited, I start stumbling over myself. But let's say I'm joining from a desktop computer, for example, and I've never used WebEx before in my entire life, and some of us have used other applications, maybe with some of CISCO's competitors, and you have to go to there, you have to download the application, make sure that you have an account. When you join a WebEx meeting for the very first time from your laptop computer or your desktop computer, it automatically downloads the application for you. On mobile devices, though, it's going to redirect you to your Apple Store or your Google Play Store to download an application called CISCO WebEx Meetings. And then you can join the meetings from your mobile device.
And is the CISCO WebEx meeting you said meeting, we have different things that we can use WebEx for, either meetings or events or training. Is there a different app for each one of those types of interfaces, or is it one app
It's one app.
for all three?
Yeah, so
Okay.
those different interfaces, think of them as services.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like to think of it as services. So I can host online webinars, I can host the training sessions, I can host the my little office hours through my meeting center using my personal meeting room.
Okay, so CISCO WebEx meetings is one for all. Okay.
And it should be it's typically the first option.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you just type in CISCO, your first option will probably be something called Jabber, your second option is usually WebEx.
And could I ask now, I think I had a little notice that said you are now using data, so if you're using your phone, your smartphone, you're actually using data, is that right?
Yeah, so, but with that, one of the things that I like about that is when I'm on the road, I can use my data, but a lot of people don't have unlimited data. So you can connect to Wi-Fi using it, and there's also a setting within the application to turn it off, just to make sure you're not using any of your mobile data that's constantly consuming that. You can make sure that it uses your Wi-Fi networks only.
I was prompted to contribute. Something like this.
Yeah.
I want to use Wi-Fi.
Questions?
So you're obviously stating desktop. So because I can see you moving in and out of the screen, so that's something to be mindful of. You have to stay in front of your desktop or your laptop unless using a mobile device. Carry it.
Yeah, absolutely. I also have, depending on what my use case for that day is, I also have an external camera, so if I don't want to use the integrated camera, and I don't know, it's just because it's a separate device for me, I'm more conscious that it's there. Typically, when you're giving a presentation like this and delivering it over WebEx, sometimes you're sitting at a chair. I obviously cannot stay still.
Well,
Yeah.
no one can.
Yeah. Yeah, so you do have to be mindful of making sure that you are on video. One of the other things that I like, a lot of us, when I started working at CISCO, one of the things I hated most about it was that I had to be in HD video 24, like all day, every day. And some people don't like looking at themselves, alright? And sometimes you'll catch yourself just staring, it's like, oh, why is that thing in my hair? There's spinach in my teeth that I've had since lunch and no one told me about it. You can turn off your video from your view so you don't see it, turn off your self view, and that way you can just regularly be yourself. Yeah.
So you'll be able to see all the windows, but then the screen is big enough to capture every person's picture or not?
So there's different views, so let me go ahead and start back up a session. There's different views on how you want to make it work for you. So, oops. Let's go on WebEx. I'm going to go back and join a session. I already have one meeting in progress. It's already up. Alright. So, here I have it running. I can have, first of all, I can minimize my little self view so I'm not constantly staring at myself. I can have this view, which I call the participant view, or the list view. It's very useful because I can see who's connected by their first and last names or their usernames. I can see what kind of device they're connected from. So next to my name, you can see that I'm connected from a laptop or desktop computer. I can see you guys are connected from mobile devices.
Can you do Control Plus so it gets a little bigger? Maybe not.
That can probably be my aspect ratio. Yeah. But I also have a Hollywood Squares view. So the Hollywood Squares view allows me to view, let me stop switching back and forth between all the applications. Allows me to view like typically about 6 people at any given time. I can drag this to make it bigger or smaller and view more people. The more people that are in the session, I can view usually up to 6 people here. I also have a maximize view, where it allows me to toggle through the entire classroom of people that has joined the session. Now, sometimes you're not always sharing content and being super interactive, so sometimes I just like using this view, so I can actually talk and see the people that I'm talking to.
So what is the maximum?
Alright, so with Meeting Center, you can host pretty much an unlimited number of people. Alright? I have had Meeting Center meetings with over 100 people easily. You don't necessarily want to do that, alright? Because it's just like that virtual, imagine if we had 100 people in here. And then imagine we had 500 people in here. The more people you have in a physical classroom, you start talking over other people. So if you're hosting a really large number of people, you might want to use that other service called Event Center for the online webinars to help you manage all of their audio.
Events center?
Event Center.
Event center.
So for example here in my participant view, I can unmute all of you. And we're about to get that terrible feedback noise, so I'm going to go ahead and mute all of you. But I can only manage your guys' audio. I cannot turn on your video. And some instructors get a bit discouraged about not being able to turn on their students' video, but you can do things like make it a part of your participation for you. Or just say it's part of a requirement as participating in class. You're being, so that I can see you, I can see who I'm talking to and develop that personal relationship. But video isn't a requirement of a WebEx meeting.
Right, so, I mean, there's nothing to see right now.
Yeah, because I'm not sharing any content. But I could choose to go ahead and continue to share my screen with you and talk to you back and forth. You can see I have one meeting in progress.
Sorry.
What about on the student discussions? Can you manage in a very efficient way, or is it just a lot of discussions and a lot of interesting?
So you have choices on how you want to make the client work for you. So there is a chat panel where I could choose to talk to you guys one-on-one. Or I can talk to everyone, alright? Or if I don't want my students to be able to talk back and forth between each other without having verbal conversation in the class, I can turn off that feature. Or if I just want them to, like in a panelist discussion, only be able to talk to the panel, they can do that. Or if I just want them to have a free-for-all to talk back and forth, they can do that. Also with the training center and the event center, so those distance education courses and the online webinars, you can also have a Q&A panel where they can type all day questions nonstop, and it'll tell you what order those questions are coming in. And then I can go through and type an answer, or I can speak an answer and tell them that, hey, this was answered verbally. Or if I'm having a panel discussion earlier, I could have had all of that entire panel sitting there on video, typing answers to questions, even though there's a main person presenting content.
I don't see that on
Oh, so,
my app. I don't see the ability to write back to you or to interact with the other participants.
in the upper, wait, iOS or Android? Okay, in the upper right-hand corner, there is a little person.
Yep.
Alright, click on that. And chat back and forth between everyone. Alright, any other questions? So,
Now, could I ask a question of this particular Android that I picked up on my I forgot which server this is, Chrome, I guess. I picked up on that ID versus what I normally use for internet email. Can you control what it picks up on, or you cannot, whatever your ID is for password for this particular device, that's what it'll pick up on?
it will do that, but once you guys have an account, it'll say your first and last name.
Okay.
You can also customize as you're signing in what you want it to say. So there's, if you once we end the meeting, it'll say sign up or sign in, and there's a settings here where you can edit your first and last name option, so it doesn't say like one of, I think it's this one, my Google Nexus tablet. When I join from it says Schreiber.76 because that's my personal email.
Right, that's
Yeah. But I can go in and edit it to say Tiffany Schreiber, or usually I have all of these devices set to be the first and last name of Surface Pro or iPad, just so that people can see that the experience from device to device is relatively the same.
So we have an ID already for our apps. It's called CAS. I don't know, guys here, Nick might know. So we have what is called a central identification. We have an ID with a password. Should we use that or not confuse it with that?
So when you guys join in the fall, when you go to fordham.webex.com, it will be using a process called single sign-on. It's pretty much like one identity. Like when you go to various tools within Fordham, you sign in using your one identity, which is your Fordham email.
Right.
It will also be the same for this tool as well.
Oh, okay.
If people go to is there a way that you can have, archived sessions that you've had so people can go and if they missed a meeting, they can go back and see what was going on there?
So you can actually record all of your meetings. And you can send, when you stop the recording after the session is over, so whoever's the host of the meeting can record it. So I can press record anytime, it started recording, I can pause the recording, say, hey, we have a 5-minute break. I can stop the recording. When I stop the recording, it's going to render it up to the CISCO cloud or to the cloud, and spit it out send you an email that says, what's your name?
Mike.
Mike? Mike, your recording from Tiffany Schreiber's personal meeting room is ready. Or I would actually say Mike's personal meeting room. Or whatever your lecture topic is, or whatever your office hours topic is. And then it provides you with streaming links or download links that you can distribute to all of your students. Or you can download the video and post it onto wherever you put your syllabi for your course.
Do you have a place in the WebEx interface that stores all of your previous, or do you have to download it there and put it in your own space?
I always encourage downloading it somewhere and putting it in your own space, just like you back up any files that you have. But you will be able to go to Fordham.webex.com. You can click on whichever center or service that you're using. And click on My Recorded Meetings and view all your previous recordings.
Can students start meetings and record their own meetings?
Students will be able to host meetings with up to 8 people, so me and 7 other participants, using voice over IP. They will not have recording capabilities.
And can 2 instructors teach at the same time like that? I guess it would be the same thing as sharing your screen. It wouldn't matter, it would be a participant or so.
Yeah, and then you can pass the ball around as much as you want. We're in the training center and the event center. You'll see everyone that's the presenter or typically an instructor and their teaching assistant. They'll be part of the panel.
In terms of the shared content that you mentioned, is there any limitation on what can be put in there? I was thinking Excel files, PDFs, PowerPoints, all that would be.
So I can share by going to the session, and I can go share an individual file. So when I share an individual file, it can be a PDF, it could be a PowerPoint presentation. All right, and it uploads it as a separate tab. Or I can share my entire screen, or I can share just a singular application. So with the whole share my screen feature, you can share pretty much any application you have on your machine.
And people from different parts of the world download this tab.
Yes, including China.
Okay.
That's always the question. There's always one.
That's how Mom got on, right?
Yeah. My mom's from the Philippines.
Isn't that the answer to her question? Anybody could download it, right?
She's in Florida.
She's in Florida. The second we're from Ohio, or I'm from Ohio. The second I started college, my mom booked it to Florida. She's like, goodbye winters.
So what about videotaping and letting the participants know that they're being videotaped? Is there some indication, some way to let them know that they're going to be?
You can't low-key videotape everyone as long as you're aware of it,
So
because
they're aware?
yeah, it says recording from whoever's view. On your mobile device, there should be a little red dot that tells you.
You also have the ability to turn off your camera, so.
Or
Yeah, but if you don't know you're being recorded, that's.
Well, it can't use your camera unless you,
yeah,
give
I can't
permission.
control you. You
No, I
as a
understand.
participant, yeah.
But
Sometimes
if
people
somebody's
forget.
recording something, they participate, just
So when you'll know if it's being recording, it says down here at the very bottom, and the other applications or services, it says it at the top. Any other questions before we go ahead and wrap up? I have
What about security
security.
in terms of process of storing it and it's all done through CISCO, cloud, other things?
So all the technology is encrypted. I don't know if this matters to anyone in the room. It is actually one of the only web conferencing that is HIPAA compliant, and I've installed this at the White House.
Repeat what you just said?
The what?
The White House.
Oh.
Yeah, the Department of Defense uses this on a regular basis, so it is encrypted.
What about the competition contract? What are the features? You have a choice, but what are the features with WebEx that surpass the ease of use, the things that we've already been using because we haven't had anything?
So a lot of the times, from my feedback from my customers, is that they really like the WebEx because it is the same no matter which device you're on. It's the same look and feel. So when I'm here versus when I'm on my Windows machine, it is the same look and feel. It's easy to troubleshoot problems. Then the other thing is the level of support. So let's say your student is having trouble joining the WebEx session. All right, even though they didn't review a quick reference guide, which we're putting together for you guys to give to your students if you want to do that. They can actually call WebEx Support. Anyone can call WebEx Support. They are paid 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help you guys with your audio issues that you have. Or to help you turn on your camera. Alright, so you guys can really concentrate on delivering your courseware. So I hear a lot of positive feedback about the support we give to our customers, the fact that it's the same on device to device, the fact that anyone can join because they don't have to have an account. My mother joins, my friends join, my friends are helping me plan my wedding, they join, we have WebEx meetings. And also because I can communicate with people over Wi-Fi without consuming my own data or my mobile plan for my devices as well.
Is it free for other people who use it to join our meeting within our account?
So if you were to join mine, one, you don't have to have an account. The only thing that there would be a charge to you for was if you were connecting over a mobile device and consuming your own data. That's it. So it won't cost you anything to join my meeting. So if you guys get a bill or something from joining our WebEx today, that will never happen. Alright, so that's everything that I had for you guys today. We're actually a little over on time and someone's probably going to walk in and yell at me for talking too much again. So thank you for joining and having me today. If you have any